Sorry, I was gonna say Kick-Ass CRM. Sorry for user.
Listen. Swear words are very welcome on Smack. You're absolutely fine. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Smack Hospitality Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 1. We're starting off the season with Timothee, Semelin, ex-LinkedIn and currently Global Senior Corporate Director of Digital Marketing and Transformation at the Rosewood Hotel Group. We talked to him about the challenges of digital transformation during the current pandemic, how the Rosewood Hotel Group launched a new website in less than 10 months, and how the digital transformation affects other departments in a hospitality company. Enjoy the show. Timo, thank you very much for agreeing to doing this. We will we will get to Ian Miller with a bottle of gin for the thank you message on that one. Tim, let me ask you a very simple question to start off with. Would you describe the past 6 to 8 months of your job? How's it been with the digital world of Rosewood and Corona coming in at the point of time that it did, and how has it transformed your way of working in a sense?
Wow, so many things to say, but I can try to summarize it. I think the first thing that comes to mind is I can fairly say that the last 8 months have been the hardest time in my career. I think it's been really difficult because the industry is suffering so much, and of course, our business is to welcome guests, and so when we cannot do that, it's really hard. The people are not working, and so that's really the first thing that comes to mind. The second thing was that we had to think very quickly of what we are going to do about it, right? Knowing that right away, and thankfully or sadly, but in Hong Kong there is actually quite an experience into this kind of crisis, because I'm not sure if you're aware, but the SARS crisis in Hong Kong or in the early 2000s really left a scar here. But at the same time, the Hong Kong businesses actually learned a lot from that. And since we are a Hong Kong-based company, and many of our executives are from Hong Kong and China, we actually very quickly knew this was going to be a very long process and a very long recovery. So at least that was out of the way. But then we had to decide, okay, are we going to slow down what we're doing, or are we going to double down and move faster? Again, the consensus was very fast. We had very aggressive plans for the year that, everything was locked down by December, January. And we decided to double down and realize that all the projects we were doing, it was not a good idea to postpone anything. So, whether it's at least in the technology world for myself and my colleagues in our digital business transformation department, from finance transformation to digital CRM, the pressure was just even stronger to deliver on these projects faster, because we knew it was going to be the key to recovery.
And do you feel, Tim? Do you feel like it's the interest in your line of work, or in people with your expertise? Has the interest grown in your work and in your thoughts? Because clearly the whole industry with the fewer guests that are traveling these days. And a lot of the process of having been reworked from manual processes to mostly digital or ideally digital processes, has that made it? I mean, you said pressure on the one hand side, but surely that's brought a little bit of more of a tension to your position and to the digital world in general.
Well, I think the good part is that I think we've actually realized that earlier. So I was hired at Rosewood about 3 years ago to help build the digital practice.
Yeah.
Back then it was only a few people. We didn't really have a long-term strategy and all that. So um, we realized that before. Now, of course, what happened this year is things just kind of accelerated, and
Yeah.
before our, some of the projects we're spearheading were very, very important for sure, and part of the company pillars. I guess, yeah, it's just now there was more emphasis, and everybody was also knew that this our projects were becoming more and more important.
Yeah.
Not that other things were not as important, but when
The
hotels,
attention had to change a little bit.
well, yeah, when hotels are closed, of course, the operations team are super busy dealing with the crisis all the time. But the technology aspect of things, our CEO got very involved in our projects.
Yeah.
So from top to bottom, in a way, we actually had a lot more people helping us delivering our projects than if we didn't have the crisis happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's been quite an adventure, yeah, and
Quite
it's
a
still
journey.
still an adventure, like quite a journey. Yeah, I mean, we are, yeah, we're full on.
Yeah. Is there any particular incident, Tim, that comes to mind? Like any particular incident, if you think back of the past couple of weeks where you thought that this would have probably never happened if COVID had not come around?
Not really. I think we're actually we're kind of sticking to the plan. I think
Right.
we already, you know, one part of being a smaller company like us is we actually knew we already have some things to fix in the company, right?
Right.
I think we have big aspirations, and we know that some of these things we were already lacking. So in the digital world, for example, we were very self-aware that um, we were not in the top digital
We were not leaders.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
think
Yeah.
you think of a hospitality brand. I mean, we are like way behind. But the so we knew that before, and our goal is really to leapfrog and really get to the top in the next couple of years. Um, and COVID happened, but the goal is the same.
Mm. Yeah.
So
How
what?
important how important is that, Tim? How important in your opinion is it to especially in times and obviously, most of us will not have times really to compare to the ones that we live in at the moment. But in your opinion and looking at it from your area of expertise, how important was it to not stop and question everything, but to keep going, to stick to your plans, and just add and build on the plans that you already had in place anyways?
So a lot of the things that happened this year are things we were talking about and never had the time to implement. I'm just doing an example, right? So
Yeah.
um, being a very kind of virtual savvy company, right? Like being on virtual meetings,
Yeah.
Zoom or Microsoft Teams or
Yeah.
things like that. Me coming from a technology company before, when I was working with LinkedIn, I was very used to that, and I've been actually pushing the company to do more of that, because we are very traditional and used to face-to-face meetings, and it was a very slow process. um, well, that everything sped up this year. So
Mm.
now everybody is online. I can talk to my CEO on Teams, and everybody's doing that. um, we're much more productive. So there are some good things that came out of it,
Yeah.
in a painful way, but these are some examples, I guess.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that productivity and especially from your point of view as you deal with technology anyways. How easy was it to convince everyone that Teams and Zoom is kind of the way forward, because you physically couldn't meet? I imagine, or the question is, did everybody at Rosewood straight away pick up on that, or was there some convincing to be done?
No, it was. I mean, again, it was something that was already in the plans. So
Yeah.
we didn't start from, like, zero
Scratch.
to
Yeah.
to, to nothing. We've been using the Microsoft Office pack for a while, and Teams was being tested actually
Okay.
late
Okay.
last
All
year.
right.
So again, but there was no convincing needed. I mean, it was the only way. In Hong Kong, the offices were closed pretty early, actually, in March. I think it was end of February, March, before anything happened in Europe and the US. So I guess we got the Hong Kong team to use Teams way early,
Okay.
uh, because we were hit first,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then after
Um,
rolled out everywhere.
Tim, I have to ask because obviously, as I actively prepare for the podcast episodes every time, a little bird told me that you guys have just recently thrown up a new website on the web.
Yeah.
So tell me about that because it's those listeners that have done a whole website launching project in their past, they know how much effort it is on various fronts to bring that thing to life. So I was wondering, in the process of bringing your new website, by the way, let's do a little advertising while we're at it. Rosewoodhotelgroup.com is the
No,
sorry, Rosewood Hotels. Sorry, rosewoodhotels.com. Sorry.
good hotel.
Um,
Come, no worries.
yeah.
Visit the group too. No worries.
Well, so I wasn't entirely wrong, but tell me, Tim, how easy is it to do such a launch in COVID-19 times? Is it easier in a sense because everybody's in front of the computer anyways? Was it more challenging? I imagine one or two sleepless nights in there as well, or run me through that process.
Yeah, it's a lot more than that. But, I think no matter what, it was not going to be easy, because we had a very complex digital architecture,
Mm-hmm.
and basically we wanted to move. So we made a big bet. We actually moved everything to the Adobe Marketing Cloud.
Okay.
So we were shopping around last
Yeah.
year, and then we talked to the people at Adobe, and we realized, because we're actually a small company, and we don't have too many legacy issues. Our
Yeah.
website, rosewoodhotels.com, has 28 hotels now.
Yeah.
um, so we were like, okay, let's go all in. So we talked to the Adobe guys, and we now have a new set of analytics, a new set of personalization tools, the content management system, the whole suite, right? So
Mm-hmm.
now, in terms of, we did have a lot of workshop planned that were supposed to be face to face,
Okay. Yeah.
and it was difficult because we worked on this project across the world, all time zones.
Mm-hmm.
So I have half of my team based in LA,
Mm-hmm.
half of my team based in Hong Kong, and we are working with partners, to name them Cognizant, who are also, their teams were also split between India, the US, and even now Europe. So
Mm-hmm.
you can imagine how, just setting a weekly status meeting, this is just the way it is. Now, the good thing we decided was we have to do it now, and we have to do it fast. Some of these projects could take 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
from design to go live, right? From the moment you start to go live. We kicked this off the last week of January. And the first version that you see if you go visit this week went live on September 17th. So, huge lift.
Yeah.
Um, but we had to try to finish this first MVP, minimal viable product,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
quick as possible. So now we actually have in front of us already a roadmap of 6 to 12 months. Well, actually, the next 5 months are already baked. and we're gonna have more after that. But yeah, just keep coming on the website. The next few weeks, you're gonna see things change very fast.
Now tell me, I have to dig a little bit deeper here, Tim. Tell me about this whole time zone thing, because I'm sure that, you know, for those that work in international hotel companies, they can totally feel the pain on this. How did you organize this? So you said you had literally teams on every continent, or you know, contributors on every continent. Run me through a status meeting. It must have been, you know, 4 o'clock in the morning for somebody, no?
Yeah, so it was kind of, yeah, 7 a.m. in LA at 10 p.m. for me here.
Yeah,
Um, and so yeah, and people, for actually people in India or the US, it was okay. So the weekly status, you know, I'm biting the bullet. It's a 10 p.m. on a Wednesday, but
yeah.
that's
Okay.
but I think, no, I think we quickly realized, and you know, we've been working from home a lot. My wife was here and she saw me working 3 4 nights out of 5 a
Yeah,
week, but you know, we have to, because you know, we're lucky we can be there and help the business.
yeah.
um, you know, I'll take time off later this year. We have to do what's needed so that we can help the recovery as much as possible, because you know, this is when you realize, I think, working at corporate, you know, does have an impact. It can be good or bad, and I guess we're trying to do some good here, because you know, we want to help the hotels to reopen and be in full recovery as soon as possible. And I can tell you right now, you know, from the few hotels that already reopened, guests are really interested to book direct now, because they know things change. You know, they know that they might need to call the hotel and cancel, or they want to make sure they have this direct relationship with us. And I can see it in the numbers. You know, you don't need to be a rocket scientist to realize that direct is going to be stronger for us. At least for us, it's going to be much stronger. We don't have a loyalty program, but you know, we make sure that people have a good digital experience, and that you know, they get the best price guarantee. They have access to the hotel teams if they need to, and yeah, it's you know, we have to bite the bullet, and we'll be okay at the other side, I'm sure.
So Tim, let me ask you this then. In your professional opinion, let's talk about the guests here for a moment. How is the way that guests behave online going to change, or what do you think will happen? I realize no one's got the golden answer here, because God knows how this whole situation is going to develop. But what is your opinion on, and what are some of the things that you can share, obviously, with us, that you've seen that has changed? So, you know, there's a huge discussion
Mm,
going on over here in Europe at the moment, as to, you know, whether it's time for the hotels to claim their position against OTAs again. You know, whether the OTAs are going to be obsolete. Then you get the news that Booking is releasing a quarter of their work staff.
mm,
You know, on the other hand, you hear people who are saying, well, the only way we're going to get back into, you know, some form of normal mode is to get some form of volume through booking.com and Expedia and HRS and
yeah,
whoever it may be.
yes,
Where's the truth in all this? Because you know, you talk to 5 people, you get 5, or let's say at least 3 entirely different answers. Is
for
that
sure.
is that is that only because we just don't know at the moment, or is it because
I
people are
think
not paying enough attention?
No, I think because it's too broad of a question, right? I think within the hospitality sector, you can probably layer the industry in a hundred different segments. You know, if you think of Rosewood, then we need to talk about how the ultra luxury guest is going to behave, and that's maybe 1% of the travelers worldwide, right? So of course, if you're and we have different brands too. So we have New World, which is more like a business hotel,
Hmm.
um, and that answer will be different for New World, right? So I think, and also depending on the region. So it's very hard to answer for sure, and I think there's a little bit of truth in all that. I think you need to claim the guests where you can. If you are strong enough digitally and have uh, sorry, I was gonna say Kikas CRM. Sorry for the use
Listen,
of
listen.
word.
Swear words are very welcome on Smack. You're absolutely fine.
If you are equipped digitally, you have a Kikas CRM, you have a digital team that can run a ton of campaigns for you and look at data and run performance marketing and programmatic advertising and all that stuff. Knock yourself out, like go for the guess. But so many hotels have none of that.
Right, right.
So many hotels. Think of the individual hotels. I have friends; they own their hotel. It's a 50 room. How are they gonna recover? They have to count on partners, on OTA. Of course, they can think innovatively, using influencers and stuff like that. But I think it's really, you have to look at the product. What are you
Mm.
selling, and what is your strategy to recover? Um, and
So let
and
me try and nail you on this one, Tim. Give me the example of the ultra luxury guest. Give me one or two things where you think he or she, which is right down your alley with Rosewood Hotels, with the original brand that you guys have. How do you think that's gonna, if the whole COVID-19 thing is gonna impact how he or she books? Is it really going to be the direct booking? Is it going to be even more of an experience necessary already through imagery or something of the sort?
I think it's going to be more of everything. I think it's going to be, and again, it depends on the region.
Sure. Yeah.
You see trends in the US. US tend to book direct more, and that's growing. In China, we see even more OTA bookings coming in.
Yeah.
Um, so do you want to fight this, depending on the markets? I guess not really.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of everything, but I just think we need to be very good on every channel.
Hmm.
But for us, we're in the long game, right? So if you think about, okay, how I'm going to boost my business for next year, yes, of course, we're going to work with OTA. We're going to try to boost direct. But we also have to think of the next 10 years and the next 20 years. And the next 20 years, we want to have Rosewood, uh, loyal guest that
Mm.
maybe we're going to acquire them through an OTA first, but we have to do the work so that next time they book through us directly.
Yeah.
um, and we will always work with OTA because they're going to bring us new clients, right?
Yeah.
People that we won't be able to reach by ourselves. I mean, my advertising budget is not Booking.com advertising budget where they
Yeah.
spend 100 million US dollar on Google a year, or maybe more. I forgot.
Yeah.
I'm just giving a number, but we
Yeah.
just have to be good in every aspect, and just look at moving the needle in all of them.
Yeah.
But ultra luxury, I want to say ultra luxury. I think what we see is that they want to talk to us because ultra luxury is where you get picked up, and you want to pick what car you want to pick you up, right?
Yeah.
You want to know who is your chauffeur. You want to book a restaurant, but you want to know exactly what your table is going to be facing,
Right.
and stuff like that. You can't just know that through third parties.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that our job is how do we enable that, and that's not easy. Online digitally, it's really not easy. Of course, we have a very strong also central reservation center
Yeah.
uh, that's here to stay, and we're improving this, and we have so many phone reservation like we've never had before. People
Mm.
are asking, are you open, can we
Yeah.
book, what
Yeah.
happens if we cancel? So
So tell me this then, Tim. How is it? How was it for you coming from LinkedIn? With, you'll forgive me for saying this, is not a hospitality company in per se, at all, and then trying or coming to Rosewood and trying to deliver effectively ultra luxury services through a digital medium, which is, like you just said, is not easy, because the majority of the ultra luxury world is based on the fact of of contact, of exchange, and so on and so forth, with it, which is not per se something that you can deliver that easy. Whereas a budget experience obviously is much easier to transport in a digital sense.
Mm. Well, I think first, I think the team I'm working with, uh, I have a lot of colleagues that have been in the hospitality industry for a long time.
Yeah.
So I'm learning so much from the team in LA. At the hotels, I've been lucky to go to some of our hotels, discussing with the managing director, the staff, experiencing the hotels myself, of course. Um, and then after, it's a lot of collaboration. I think everyone in the team brings different things to the table. I think the LinkedIn experience that I had, and my even also my previous role in media in China and Hong Kong, um, overall just gave me an interesting point of view on things.
Mm,
The way we could work and collaborate, and some companies tend to be quite, okay, do your things within your own department, and I think one thing I brought was really a big sense of collaboration that I learned from LinkedIn, where
mm,
is kind of a big culture thing. I've been trying to work also with our HR team to bring more kind of a digital mindset to the company.
yeah.
We've had conferences internally where I was lucky to be on stage and talk about the digital vision of the company, and get some very traditional hotelier, get them very excited about the potential, and how to help them. We've been creating things like the Rosewood Digital Academy.
Mm,
It's been about 2 years now, where we have 120 people around the world in all of the Rosewood, the Cost, the New World, different brands, where we have people from each hotel learning online, um, through some of the LinkedIn content, because we actually use LinkedIn Learning, something
yeah.
that I learned there.
Yeah.
And we also produce our own content in house
Hmm.
to teach people and get people to get excited about digital. So it's been a journey, but the idea is really to bring everyone on board on these projects. And I guess the experience at LinkedIn was really working on big projects, and working and helping clients. So I was on the advertising division, helping clients to think strategically about things, and how to spend their money efficiently. And I can tell you that this, how to manage money efficiently is a very much needed skill these days.
I could tell you. Um, Tim, allow me to ask this question, realizing that you might not be the perfect person to answer this, but I'll try my luck anyways. Would you say it's maybe the only way to get to get your knowledge into the industry is by hiring people like yourself who don't come from a hospitality background, but who come from the digital side of it? Because traditionally the image that hospitality has is obviously it's particularly slow moving. At best we react to trends rather than produce them.
Mm.
Would you say that the only way to get a digital mindset into a company, which, as you just explained, you've been doing on all fronts, whether it's HR, your own teams, your CEO, the best way to do that is with somebody from the outside who comes from, it doesn't necessarily have to be LinkedIn, but whatever it may be,
Mm.
from a digital world, because simply because the industry is so, the hospitality industry is so damn traditional.
So I would say yes and no. So I think first you have a limited pool of digital talent within the industry,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the industry has been growing so much for the last 10 years that the digital pool of talent within hospitality was just not there. So there was a huge shortage that people had to go outside to recruit people. if you want to recruit a data analytics guy or
Yeah.
CRM people or stuff like that, I mean, you just have to go outside. But yes, also because yeah, I think in the last few years, people realize more and more that my generation, I guess, I'm an old millennial.
Yeah.
We're quite flexible into shifting industries, and
Hmm.
we actually welcome the challenge, and we know it's really hard. And I think if you find the right people willing to shift industry and learn and get new point of view, yeah, it's always great.
Mm.
But I think the moving forward, it's yeah, I've recruited people in my team for the last 2 years, and I recruited people from the industry, you
Mm.
know,
Yeah.
because they know their stuff. So
Yeah.
it has to be the right timing, and I think I was lucky to join the group at the right timing. And my hiring manager back then told me, because it was funny. I tell you a story. So my hiring manager back then was like, I asked her, "Are you sure you want to hire me? Because this is not what I do at all. Like this is not, I was
Yeah.
selling advertising to big clients, and yes, I have many experience in many other things. As a traveler, yes, do I enjoy hospitality and know about it? I was a Airbnb super host, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I told them, I was like, "Are you sure? Because okay, this is what I know, and there's a lot of things I don't know." And they were like, "Yeah, they want somebody from outside of the industry." So sometimes, people they're very clear. They say, "Okay, we need fresh blood, and let's look around."
Mm. Tim, last question on the HR front, and then I promise you we'll move away from it.
No.
But I just wanted to say or ask your opinion on exactly what you described earlier, where you said that your official title, as I read it on LinkedIn, is Global Senior Corporate Director of Digital Marketing and Transformation, and yet from what I hear from your description, Tim, you do a lot more. You're involved with HR. I'm sure you've spoken to other departments that you haven't talked about. Whether they like it or not. I'm sure the revenue guys get a phone call from you every now and then. How important is that today? That if we look at hierarchies now, again, I realize that obviously you're not one of the huge hotel companies in the world, so it's maybe a little bit easier for you guys at Rosewood. But then again, how important is it for people with your mindset, and especially a role like the digital role, which affects so many more parts than just the marketing, digital marketing part of it? How important is it for a CEO? And we'll throw in a compliment there for her while we're at it, to let you loose and just give you the chance to talk to the other departments and have an impact on them as well, simply because the world is so digital these days.
Yeah. Well, I think for us in the company, it's not only digital. I think definitely, um, I needed her to kind of empower me to do that.
Yeah.
So, and now my manager, Micah Friedman, who is the CIO,
Yeah.
is also empowering us to do that, where there is no barrier in the company. And now saying that and doing it is different, right?
Yeah.
So but I think Sonia, our CEO, Sonia Chang, um, she really dislikes when things cannot get done because of bureaucracy, because two people didn't talk to each other, because people have been sending each other 100 emails instead of picking up the phone, and I mean the classic stuff, right? So
Yeah.
no, I think she's been empowering us completely. I think. Um, I've been knocking on doors nonstop the first 6 months where I joined the company. So
Yeah.
the first 6 months I joined the company, I really used that as an excuse to ask way too many questions,
Hmm.
and talk to people that yeah, maybe in a normal day now I shouldn't have talked to, or but that's really what gives people perspective on why they're doing what they do. So I think in Rosewood we're really trying to if you can do something that would be more productive and efficient, and you have to talk to someone who is like 10 levels higher than you, then do it. One thing we're creating also these days is we're actually creating I forgot the name, excuse me, but like a kind of a young, like a board of young people within the company
Yeah. Yeah.
that will work directly with our CEO
Hmm.
to think about the future, like stuff like that. We're
Yeah.
trying to come up with ideas to really break the traditional mold, and
Ways of doing business. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I think the company is, you know, let's be a hotel company, a hospitality company, but how can we try working like a retail tech company, in
Yeah.
our ways, right? In our ways, at least.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people try to do that, but again, there's a huge difference between saying it and doing it. So I think doing it is every day you have to think differently and bring on board the right people.
Okay. Now, I'm going to change topics here again and look at a little bit of the road to recovery, if that even exists, with you. And part of what you do, or part of what it says in your LinkedIn title, and I realize we've spoken enough about titles and HR now, but I want to talk a little bit about transformation to you, and how you see the future. So this is the time to completely let loose and just say what you think.
Hmm.
Tell me what are we looking at the next couple of weeks, months, years, maybe, in terms of the online world? Is transformation gonna be charging and leading the way? Is it, are we looking at survival of the fittest and those with the deepest pockets in the next couple of months, because we're gonna have to wait for an effective full recovery, at least until we have a vaccine on the market? What do you think? And I realize this is really asking for a lot of prediction strategies here, but just give me your ideas of what you think is realistic, and maybe also what you think isn't realistic.
Well, giving an answer to that is unrealistic.
If you had an answer, I'm sure we wouldn't be having this conversation, would we?
I think if for people who know me and work with me every day, they would say I'm an optimist.
Yeah.
Um, but I think right now, being an optimist is not enough. I think we have to be very realist about the next 6 months. Is not going to be easier than the last 6 months.
Hmm.
There is no sign of COVID slowing down at all anywhere, and there is no clear sign that any kind of medicine is going to be available on the market in the next 6 months. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
now
Yeah.
I'm not
You're
sure,
right.
politicians may say otherwise, but I don't know. For us, we're not we're not working based on things we don't know, right?
Mm.
So I think what's going to happen for the industry in the next 6 to 12 months is that there's going to be more damage to our industry. There are places in the world that have zero domestic market, right?
Mm.
So
Mm.
right now the world is not fair, right? You have countries like the U.S., France, UK, China. They have massive domestic market. They will still suffer, but they might be able to try to keep the industry afloat for 6 months or a year, for how long as it's needed to survive. But think of all the destination places, right? How are we gonna
Yeah.
do? How can you keep hotels?
How do you do well in Phuket
I
at the
think
moment?
you can't go there. You can't go there. There are
Yeah.
no there are no flights. There are no, this is what really worries me.
Yeah.
And there's nothing we can do, and I think it's not gonna get better. But I don't want to speculate. I think the only thing we can do as management in a company is to hope for the best but prepare for the worst. So at least in the digital and the technology sector, what we can do is to say, the millisecond you're ready to open for business, we'll be there and help you. That's all
Mm.
we can do. you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. And if we have to, if people have to reopen or shut down again or reopen, we'll be there, as fast as we can. That's really what we keep in our mind. And some of the big transformation we're doing, um, it's to think long term. I think long term, things are going to come back. Some people say 3 years, some other people say it's going to take 5 years to go back to ultra luxury or luxury levels that we had last year.
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I think things can recover very fast. I think we have to invest in the brand and the experience, so that when people can travel again, they choose us versus the others. And that's what we have
Is
to
the
work.
is the competition gonna get um I'm not going to say easier here because it's probably the wrong word, but is the competition going to be able is it going to be perhaps a little bit more predictable because everybody is probably going to compete on more or less the same channels because most companies will at the end of COVID-19 be somewhere in the online e-commerce world, even though it's those hotel companies that have
Yeah, of course.
tried
I
kind
think
of neglected.
everyone was there before. I mean, everyone was there before. I think some a new website is amazing, but a new website is still a website. We had a website
Yeah, yeah.
before,
Yeah,
so
yeah, true. Yeah.
uh, I think what's going to make the difference is really the brand and the experience. Of course, if you're a hotel that compete only based on price and location, that's going to be hard to differentiate.
Right.
That's going to be very tough. So I think in the luxury sector, I think we have more to say,
Yeah.
and we will have to, we're going to invest our time in the brand and make people know Rosewood even more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be really hard to differentiate yourself if you don't have a brand or even a social media strategy or people talk about you. And there's going to be a huge cut in inventory in the world, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell
Yeah.
me, tell me then. Speaking of inventory, Tim, let me ask you this: in terms of your outlook and without wanting the nitty gritty details of Rosewood Hotels' Microsoft Teams meetings or Zoom meetings or whatever, but if one goes through your new website, we had a look, obviously, and saw quite a few openings that you guys have on the horizon. Some pretty soon, some 2, 3, 4 years down the road.
Yeah.
How do you think that's, and now I realize you're not in the real estate or development team of Rosewood, but from your digital point of view, how easy is it going to be to market new locations? Because I would imagine that the amount of new openings is probably still going to continue. The old saying that the pipeline is still pretty stacked until 2022,
Mm,
23, 24, and that's
mm.
probably most projects of those will probably go ahead because they've either already been built or they're being built, or so what's going to happen thereafter? Are we going to see it being easier to market new locations simply because there's going to be less new openings?
Well, that's a tough question. You
Well,
put
I mean, we have to have two tough questions in there at least, man.
no, so I think, yeah. So we have a big pipeline, and the all the transformation we're investing in, we can invest in them because we have a big pipeline too.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we want to be ready um, for these hotels, that when they open, we have a digital marketing engine to really turn up the distribution right away.
Sure. Yeah.
Not that we were not doing that for the last few years, but we had room for optimization. So
Yeah.
we really want to have, yes, a very strong um, way of turning up sales as soon as we open. And one way to do that is to educate more also our existing clients. We found out through research and things like that that we have a lot of very loyal clients to maybe
Customers.
one of our hotel, but they don't know we have 27 other hotels around the world.
Sure.
But hopefully, we are. If you look at the list on the website, the cities we're opening in the future. Another one in London, one in Vienna, Munich, Amsterdam. Those are big cities, right? Those
Yeah.
are big, really key cities we wanted to land in, and a lot of these cities are, yeah, great potential for our existing customers.
Base. Yeah. Yeah.
So we have to be very good at that. But then, of course, yeah, we have we're building. Our brand and communication team is also amazing at opening hotels. We opened Rosewood Hong Kong. Last year it was a huge worldwide event. I don't know if you saw,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
we're pretty good at opening hotels. Now we just want to have better technology to do it. But
Yeah.
it's exciting. No, it's exciting. But I think there's still so many hotels that are still going to open. I think the old hotels might close because they're not up to standard, or they're just getting old. I think people like new shiny things.
Mm. Yeah. Tim, two more questions before I let you go. One for your department and your team, very personally, in terms of transformation. Give me, of the things that you're allowed to announce already, give me a quick outlook of what's in store for Rosewood Hotels. Are you guys gonna? I presume from your words, you're not gonna slow down in terms of your transformation efforts.
No, no, I think we have a very clear vision of the next few years. On things I can talk about, it's hard. but I would say, no, one thing, and I mentioned it in another discussion before, but one thing we're working on is really, uh, thanks to now the Adobe Marketing Cloud, and we're working on a big CRM project simultaneously, and really connect the both, right? So
Yeah.
really connect the database, the online experience is kind of coming fast. I
Mm.
think some things we're talking a lot, and one thing I really care a lot about is, in China, they talk a lot about O2O, right? Online to offline.
Yeah.
So I feel one thing the industry has so much potential is we got to bring the digital experience offline. It's not about hotel website shouldn't be about just selling rooms.
Mm.
Um, and hotel website shouldn't be sad and just full of words and data and phone numbers. It should really give you a feel of what you're going to experience. And when you're there should be things that are complementing your experience, through your mobile and your phone and things like that. Now,
Yeah.
in a lot of hotels now you have QR codes to scan menu, right? No
Yeah.
more no more printed menu. Like, I want to say, like, finally, like, this should have happened years ago.
Yeah.
So let's kind of, let's double down on some of these things, and think a little bit more, the way retail think on these things, I think.
Yeah. Do you sometimes speak to your old colleagues at LinkedIn and laugh about the hotel industry? Be honest, Tim.
So they used to laugh a lot when I moved, and now they're all calling me to stay there and help them out. So
Get a free night. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Now they all want favors when they stay in our hotels. But no, no. I've been, no. A lot of people were wondering, why and how it was going to play out. But no, I think it's a
It's
good choice. And I think my friends at LinkedIn, when I look at them now, LinkedIn is a company where you stay, maybe 2, 3 years, or maybe 5, 6 years, but people go and change a lot. And then I think half of my colleagues are in different companies now and doing crazy things too. So,
Okay. So let me ask you this then, Tim, as one of the last questions I have. Give me one moment when you came to the hospitality industry from your job at LinkedIn where you thought, what the fuck did I get into?
I think, okay, I wouldn't say it's a hospitality thing. I think it's just, so, I'm very lucky to work at the headquarter, right? So,
Yeah.
it's my first time to have a corporate job, and it's very interesting to discover how the dynamic between, corporate and hotels and like different teams. And
Property level and
I just think, yeah, it's like sometimes we're just standing in our own way of doing things. And so, I may have used the WTF words sometimes, where I'm like, why are we doing this way?
yeah.
And but it's okay. It's healthy if you do something about it. And I think we try to do that a lot.
Uh, Tim, just like that, 45 minutes have gone away. Thank you very much for your time. What we definitely will take away from this is that even coming from LinkedIn and looking at hospitality and the corporate world, you still have some WTF moments from time to time. So we will try and work on that. All the best, Tim, to you and the Rosewood Hotels team, including the website. And we'll see you somewhere down the road, Tim. Thanks very much.
Thanks so much, Fritz. Talk soon. Bye.
That's it for this episode, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Special thanks to our season sponsor, I Reckon You, hospitality's first customer data platform. Their philosophy is to stop buying software and building a framework. Their middleware platform connects a hotel's above property and on-premise systems, creating a frictionless flow of hotel and guest data that enhances the guest journey while increasing operational efficiency. Find out more at ireckonyou.com, and don't forget to check out what there is to know about Smack at smack.media or on our YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook channel. We'll see you next time.